Thank you, Mr. President. Sudvind gives 3 recommendations on Item 8 to further the implementation of the goals of the Vienna Declaration and the Plan of Action into the work of the HRC. To quote, deeply concerned by various forms of discrimination and violence to which women continue to be exposed all over the world, end quote. First, Sudvind recommends to include in the regular UPR process for each state a country status report on the conditions of women. After 17 years, some states are unwilling to recognize and change the systematic discrimination against women except cosmetically. Such states frequently reject recommendations on the rights of women and instead create national instruments such as Charter of Rights and Responsibility of Women in the ABC Republic of XYZ as a domestic alternative to CEDAW. These are excuses to keep a peculiar institution as it is, with the male domination domestically ensured once more. Cultural diversity is not an argument for creating gender apartheid. Second, Sudvind recommends for the UPR process as an additional indicator the number of human and women's rights defenders and civil society activists arrested or brought to court, their health treatment in jail, conditions of release, and the killed or injured in so-called accidents. Third, Sudvind recommends to institute a special procedure to continually monitor proposed and new legislation in all countries and put on the upcoming agenda a debate on legislation that might be considered discriminatory in nature, particularly towards women. Preventing, modifying, or abolishing discriminatory laws is of paramount importance. An example of a discriminating bill that should be debated is being ratified in the next weeks in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Sudvind suggests to suspend that bill on family planning once more, as current practice.
Yes, I give the floor to delegation of Iran. Point of order.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is obviously against my personal predilection to stop any speaker in this room, especially NGO speakers. But as we have heard some minutes ago, I think it is very obvious that we should be sticky to the rules of procedures. If the rules of procedures in this room is the rule of law, we should have the ruling of the President of this Council realized. So I remind once again, and I hope for the last time, those speakers, especially the most recent one, should be reminded that the agenda item at hand and under consideration is item 8, not item 4. So making any country situations conspicuous and naming them is against the rules of procedures for item 8. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very much aware of the rules of procedure, and I seek the cooperation of everyone so we could have a smooth dialogue and discussion here. And I believe that the speaker already concluded her remarks, so thank you very much. The United Kingdom.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I apologise for taking the floor once again. I would just like to refer back to my previous statement and also your previous ruling where we understand, we can cite situations as an example. Clearly human rights do not exist in a vacuum. The speaker, I believe, was talking about discrimination against women in the context of the Vienna Declaration. She cited a country specifically as an example, and therefore I request that the speaker, if she has not finished, be allowed to finish. Thank you, Mr. President.
The United States.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I very much appreciate your rulings here to make sure that speakers can continue. This is an issue that has come up in the past, of course, in previous sessions, and it has always been very clear that referencing situations has always been completely relevant under this agenda item, and so the the rules of procedure have been obviously very clear that this is something that should continue, and believe it's, as we've always said, important to continue that dialogue, and we appreciate your rulings in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you. The Russian Federation.
Thank you, sir. The Russian Federation attaches great importance to the input of NGOs in debates within the Human Rights Council. At the same time, we would like to point out that debates are run in accordance with the program of work and the rules of procedure, and that all, without exception, should abide by them. I thank you, sir.
Thank you. I give the floor to Belgium.
Thank you, Mr. President. The EU attaches high importance to the voice of civil society, and we believe that the presentation of concrete examples of human rights violations or situations fall under this agenda item, and it's therefore legitimate, and therefore we agree with your judgment, and we believe that the statement should not be interrupted and continue if she's not finished. Thank you.
Thank you. I hear the views of everyone again, and I will give the floor back to the Speaker, and I seek her cooperation in ensuring that the statement is in line with this agenda item, which is not about particular situations. And I hope that she will take into account the views that I've expressed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm actually in the conclusion, and I mentioned an example. So, as I was telling, the discriminating bills that should be debated is being ratified, and SUDVIT suggests to suspend such bills on family planning once more, and hope that with the popular protest against it until international advices can be given and discriminative parts could be deleted by any bill.
I give the floor